Hello yogis. What I thought we could explore today is how we can move continuously but with a state of inner stillness. And we often say this, that the only constant, the only thing we can rely on is change. And that's definitely what we've been experiencing in the world of late. So let's begin with Ujjayi breath. Many of you are familiar, but it's kind of a whispered breath, and we close the back of the throat. Makes the sound of an ocean. And what we get a sense of with this Ujjayi breath is, the movement, the flow of the breath, but because there's sound and there's sensation, it brings us into the present moment, which can often feel like a vast moment of stillness. So we'll bring hands together at the heart and setting our intention for the practice and for the day ahead. To find the stillness within our movement. And to bring awareness to the constant flow of life, even within the moments of stillness. So releasing the hands and gently starting to deepen the breath. Just tracking the sensation of breath from nostrils all the way down as the diaphragm pushes down, that sensation of breathing into the abdomen. And then a way to demonstrate Ujjayi is to use the word whisper and allow the second syllable of the word to be long. Whisper. And you'll feel that gentle constriction at the back of the throat, which allows the breath to move out slowly, elongated. And once you're familiar with that sensation, we can do it without the word. And then do it with the lips closed, with that same internal sound. And if you like to include that sound on the in-breath as well. Almost like Darth Vader, but a peace-loving Darth Vader. Three more conscious Ujjayi breaths, just to train the body-mind to breathe like this throughout the practice, whenever we remember. Ujjayi offers us such a beautiful way to touch into the present with the sensation of breath, the sound of breath, and the experience of the body expanding and then releasing. So keeping that Ujjayi for as much of the practice as you can remember. And now moving into these continuous movements. So gently drawing the heart forward as we draw the breath in, and then slowly rolling round to one side and breathing out. So letting this full circle be an in-breath and an out-breath. So your own body will give the instruction in terms of how fast or slow to move. And each circle, just notice places that begin to awaken into the hips, into the spine, maybe into the shoulders. And then changing direction. It always feels like unwinding, bringing us back to an inner stillness from which we can move more consciously, with greater wisdom, bringing these two qualities together. Coming to stillness for a moment and switching the cross of the legs. This may be your less dominant side, it may be a little more uncomfortable or less familiar. And now let's move, inhaling the arm up and exhaling over. Inhaling back, exhaling to the other side. Again, taking all the time you need, the movements can be slow. And we keep that sense of stillness by touching into the breath. When the mind is present, it can be vast, it can feel timeless. When we find the mind moving into the past or the future, we often seem to lose track of time. It flies by or it drags, depending on our emotional response to our memories or our planning. But the present moment offers this openness. And then returning to stillness whilst feeling the breath move. And with the inhale, pushing the sits bones down, feeling length moving all the way through the spine. And then on the exhale, dropping the chin into the chest. Inhaling, lift. And one ear moving towards the shoulder. Just feel that gentle stretch in the other side, then inhale up and over. Keep this gentle flow as we lift, moving forward again. The in-breath helps us to rise and straighten, and the out-breath supports this deepening, lengthening, stretching. One more round. Dropping the head forward on the exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften. Inhale, find that alignment of the spine, and then gently exploring to the other side. And coming back again into a mini moment of stillness. Fingertips out to the edge of your mat and then turning the palms out. So inhale, lift, and this time the gaze lifts as well, so there's a little compression into the back of the neck. Exhale down, and then the chin can roll down. So just combining the last sequence with this. Inhale up, lifting the gaze, opening through the front of the throat, and then exhale down. Inhale up, and exhale, release. The chin drops down, feel that achy, stretchy through the back of the neck. And one more, lifting up. And then this time reaching the whole of the body forward. Letting your hands come down wherever they need to. And maybe walking fingertips forward. And gently easing. So find that continuous movement. We're not trying to get to a particular pose. The whole focus of this practice is on our moving transitions. Where can we keep exploring? Can we draw the tailbone back a little bit more? Can we draw the crown of the head forward? Can we melt and connect with the earth? And then walking the hands back. And now bringing them behind you, fingertips facing the buttocks. Drawing the shoulder blades together, opening the heart, lifting up, and now resting the head if this is comfortable for you, if there's no neck vulnerability, just resting on that ledge of muscle in the upper shoulder, lifting the heart, and release. And then bringing the knees up. So bringing our continuous movement into the spine, remembering Ujjayi, our victorious breath. So inhale, lifting the heart. Exhale, curling under. Inhale, lift. Exhale, scoop, closing in. Inhale, opening out. And the next time you come up, gently rock back and lifting the lower legs. So you can support behind. The intention here is to have a long, long spine. And then gently lifting the legs and lowering them. Lifting, keep the spine long, lowering on the out breath. Inhale, draw energy into the body. Exhale, release. Just two more. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Last one. Inhale, up. Let's see if the hands can reach forward, holding this variation of boat. And then gently bringing the toes to the ground and ease out any tightness or restriction in the lower back. Undulating the spine. And then bringing the hands, palms down underneath the buttocks. We've done this before, just to protect the lower back and come back onto the elbows. And now bringing one knee in and the other foot just hovering above the earth. And then gently with your breath, alternating sides. Letting the slow Ujjayi breathing allow a sense of inner calm, even when the poses are challenging. When our legs might start wobbling like a sewing machine, just keep that inner ability to know what we're doing. And then both legs out. And if you like, lift the heart,
and touch down the head behind you. And then relax the feet. We're in our fish pose, the throat open, the heart lifted, the breath flowing in and flowing out. And then ground those elbows down, draw the chin back in very gently and let that lead you up into staff pose. Release the hands from the buttocks, they come next to the body and then lengthening through the spine. And now just playing a little bit in the shoulders, so drawing the shoulders up to the ears and rolling them back and down. Drawing them up, rolling back and down. And a third time. And then fingertips on the shoulders, so allow this to be a nice, open-hearted, rolling sensation, linked with the breath. Lubricating these joint sites, warming up the muscles. And then changing direction with the elbows, just feel how this feels. And after the third rotation, you can gently release the hands and come into a forward bend. Just allow it to be wherever it is. This is the start of our practice, so we're just warming up by inhaling, drawing the heart a little forward. Exhale, melt, pulling the lower abdominals back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drawing down. If the knees need to bend, that's totally fine. Just honor the hamstrings and lowering. Kind of feeling your way in, breath by breath. Allowing these continuous movements to take you into new territory. And then come to a place where you can rest, and the movement is the breath. Listen to that gentle ocean ujjayi. And slowly walking the hands up the legs. You can take the moment for a little massage. And then rocking back, crossing the ankles and transitioning onto all fours. So now imagine we're gazing from the top and we're drawing a circle. So shift the weight to the right hand and then the right knee and then the left knee and the left hand. So feeling this gentle rolling movement. Honoring the breath. And just seeing how smooth it can be. We often have places that feel a little stuck, or the movement is more jagged. As we continue these circles, to see if we can kind of smooth them out. When you get back to weight on the hands, changing direction, so left hand, left knee, right knee and right hand. And again, is it different side to side? Does it feel smoother, more circular in one direction? Allowing the body to give us information in terms of what it needs, where it needs care, attention. And then returning to stillness, just on hands and knees, let's take our cat and cow. Belly drops on the in-breath, heart lifts, and then feel that wave moving through the spine. Again, noticing which of the vertebrae may need a little bit of extra care. Are there restrictions? Or can we feel the fluid moving through each of the joints, lubricating and smoothing out our movements? And then beginning to move a little more forward and back. So child's pose, the arms can reach out. And then forward into a modified up dog. You can lift the gaze, pull the shoulder blades back. Exhaling into child's pose. Inhaling all the way forward. Just feel the weight transitioning. And there's no final pose, no preferred shape. There's just a gentle exploration. Where is the body willing to go today? And where does it want to be held with a tender awareness? Where are the vulnerable places? And the next time you come forward, just claw the fingers, activate the hands, tucking the toes, and finding our first crouching tiger. So pushing the earth away, lifting up into the sits bones. The intention here is the length in the spine, so keep the tailbone growing up and up and up, and then involving the legs, dropping one heel and the other. Warming up calf muscles and hamstrings. Bringing that juiciness to these big muscles in the body. And then continuing with our forward and back, but this time from down dog into plank, and then into an up dog, but toes still touch. Move back to plank, and downward facing dog. And make it smooth. It's all about the transition, not about the final shape of the pose. Clawing the fingers just to protect the wrists. And hugging the thighs around the femur bones to help draw you back. The next time you're in down dog, just staying there. Pulling the forearms towards each other. Feel how the shoulder blades might open a little. Pulling the shin bones in, see if the sits bones can broaden. And then letting the right leg float up behind, lifting the gaze, stepping it forward between the hands. Just finding that lunge, activate the back thigh. And then gently rocking forward and back here, just straightening the front leg and then releasing. And choosing your variations as the body opens up. You may just be able to explore a little deeper, maybe lifting the front toes. Maybe up on the fingertips, just to keep the hands strong and engaged. And then returning into lunge, palms flat on the earth, and downward facing dog once more. Take a moment to feel your Ujjayi breath nourishing you right down into the belly. Our energy center, the lower Tantien. And then the left leg floats up, lifting the gaze, the foot knows where it's going. Sometimes we need to give it a helping hand. So activate the back thigh and then once again rocking forward and back. Just notice the different side to side. Without judgment, without any inner critical voice. Our practice is primarily about befriending the body. Bringing attention and care to all the different organs and muscles, tendons and ligaments and bones that are working for our well-being and may need some care in return. And this time, instead of stepping back, we're going to shift the weight and take a giant moon step to the front of the mat. And now gently lifting the heart, exhale, bow, floating forward like a swing. Exhale. Noticing the weight shift on the feet. Constant little adjustments to keep us steady. So the movement is an intimate aspect of the stillness. And then hanging, maybe holding opposite elbows, the knees can bend. And now it's gravity that's moving us. With the weight of the arms and the head and the torso, we may gently find that we're being stretched down towards the earth. So no effort, just an awareness of this continuous change. And releasing elbows, pushing feet into the earth, gently rolling up like a rag doll. The hands can hang heavy. The spine unfurling until we find our way into Tadasana, the mountain pose. And we generally think of the mountain as completely still. But even on the surface of the mountain, things shift and change. The rocks weather by the heat of the sun, the rain, the ice. So even something that looks completely still, there's a gentle movement. And you may feel that now, this need to just rock slightly, finding your balance on the balls of the feet and the heels. So letting the arms lift up into the sky and then pulling the shoulder blades down the back. And then reach the arms all the way up again and taking them back down to the sides. So just feeling now that movement in the shoulders as well. Inhale, lift. The gaze might lift. And then pull the shoulder blades down the back so there's lots of space around the neck. And then reaching up and taking the arms down. So on the lift, it feels like we're lifting heavy air and pulling shoulder blades down really engages all the musculature. Then we can stretch up and then swimming through the air on the way down.
And now we transition. So inhale, lift. We call this muscular energy when we hug in towards the core, and then organic energy when we reach out. And now let's swallow down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lifting up through the lower abdomen, feeling that movement. Lifting once more. And then stepping the left leg back into a lunge and then dropping the knee. The toes can stay tucked and active and pushing down to come up. So the hands on the knee, we're going to gently pull underneath the rib cage, scoop the tailbone under. That's for the exhale, and then inhale, move a little bit forward. Exhale, pulling back and in. Inhale, soften. You'll notice a stretch through the front of that left hip. And gravity, of course, taking you down maybe a little further each time. But by using this muscular energy, the pulling in, it allows the muscles then to release with a greater sense of ease. Come up to stillness and let the arms lift. And then pulling those shoulders down the back as we did before. And pulling the front foot back, the back knee forward. Really get that sense of muscular activity, holding yourself present. And then bringing hands down the midline. Left hand to the earth, the right hand to the hip. And slowly exploring into a twist. And seeing where the twist will go, the inhale will take the spine longer. The exhale can take you a little deeper, and maybe the top arm lifts up. Breathing in, breathing out, and release. Hands to the earth, back into downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Listening to your supportive ujjayi whenever you remember. And floating forward into plank. So for the first round, we can use the knees, and then either keeping this transition, or later we may explore chaturanga. So elbows hinging back, upper arms brushing the rib cage and lowering down. And then as we've been doing, rolling shoulders back, but this time it allows the heart to lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, rolling back and lifting. Exhale. Final time, lift. And then hold a little bit, but find that constant inner movement. As we pull the hands back, maybe the heart draws forward. Keep exploring our pose, playing at the edge. And then all the way down. The hands can come next to the thighs, the cheek can rest on the earth. And now the movement comes in the spreading of the muscles as they release. And gently connect with the earth beneath. The movement here is in the belly as it fills with breath and then softens as the breath releases. And hands coming under the shoulders. The toes can tuck, activate the thighs, so the knees will lift, activate the lower abdomen, and gently push up and back. Downward facing dog. Breathing in,
breathing out. Letting the right leg float up and forward between the hands. So we're on the same side. Just feel how it feels and dropping that back knee once again. Push down to come up. And once again, we'll just exhale and draw in. Inhale, open out a little. Activate. And then find that freedom. Keep pulling front foot back, back knee forward. And then letting the arms lift into the sky once again. Dropping down the midline. Left hand to the earth. And this time bringing that back foot up. And that may be as much as you want to do, or you may come into the twist and see whether you can reach for that back foot. And then gently pushing the foot into the hand whilst pulling the knee forward. Feel that activation through the quad, the twisting of the body. So much going on here. And allow that inner stillness to be revealed through the breath. And release. Hands to the earth. Just take a moment. After the intensity of certain poses, we naturally want to find stillness. So tucking the back foot. And taking your moon step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Just noticing differences side to side. We've worked one side of the body. And then pushing down to come up. Arms reach into the sky. Shoulder blades pull down the back. Lots of space through the neck. And then reaching up once again and bringing the hands back to the thighs. Our steady mountain. To an untrained eye, it's not moving. But there's all sorts of things going on beneath. Inside the earth itself, uplifting. And we feel that within our own body there's a stillness, but there's an uplifting with the breath, and a softening down as the breath releases. Let's take that to the other side. Arms lift up and overhead, shoulder blades pull down the back. And then lift and swallow down. Drawing the heart forward. This time the right leg back. Into a lunge and then down onto the knee. Keeping the toes tucked to be active and strong. Push down to come up. The hands can rest on the knee and then sucking in the belly as the breath flows out, lifting under the rib cage, drawing the tailbone down. And then the inhale, we can just find that stretch again. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, opening and lengthening. These deep hip flexors that connect our upper and lower body. And coming into a still point, and then the arms float up. That's where our movement is. And then down the midline. to the heart. The right hand now onto the earth, the left hand onto the hip or the sacrum, and gently draw the heart forward, and then feeling your way into the twist. And when the twist feels it's got where it wants to go, let the top arm lift. Push the bottom hand down and notice how that allows you even to move a little more. And release. Both hands to the earth and back into downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Hearing the ocean in the back of the throat. Floating forward into plank. Again, you can use knees here, or if you want to do chaturanga, really claw the fingers, bring the shoulders forward of the hands, and then gently hinge the elbows back so the forearms are staying upright. And then down. And let's take Shalabhasana this time, so bringing the hands back, they can either rest on the ground, or you can interlace them behind your back, completely up to you. And then gently lifting the heart and lifting the legs. So on the inhale, we lift everything together. On the exhale, there's a softening. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften. Third time, inhale, lift. Hold just for a little longer and release. Maybe the other cheek flattens to the earth. And take a moment to feel the spread of the muscles. The expansion of the belly and the lower back. And hands underneath the shoulders, toes tucked, preparing to move in stillness. Pushing down. Downward facing dog. Breathing in and releasing. And then the left leg, floating skywards, bringing it forward between the hands. And often the foot does get stuck halfway. That's where we hold the ankle and we give it this helping hand. And then bringing the back knee down, the toes staying active and engaged. The front foot pulling back, the back knee pulling forward. Notice how that drawing in can lift you up. And then gently exhaling, feeling that curve, that C shape in the spine, and then inhaling and deepening and opening. Letting the arms float up. Bringing the right hand to the earth next to the front foot. And the left arm rises, feel your twist, and then lifting up that back foot. We often cramp here. If that's the case, don't worry, just flatten it down. Now reaching your back hand parallel with the earth, and just see whether it's willing to meet the foot. And then push the foot into the hand whilst pulling that knee forward. Really engage everything here. It may not feel delicious in this moment, but once we have juiced up the quads, we feel a much deeper sense of ease. And release. tucking the toes, and taking your moon step to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Letting gravity take you once again in the yin sequence. This is called a dangle. So just dangling down. Notice where the weight moves to. Is it more on the heels, on the balls of the feet? You can explore what allows you a greater sense of ease. And when you're ready, rooting into the earth, really pushing down, and again, ragdoll style, just rolling each vertebrae up, one on top of the next. And finding our mountain, with the breeze blowing around and within. Arms float skywards. Shoulder blades pull down the back. Feel that space around the neck. Lifting, maybe a micro back bend. And then let the arms stretch all the way up, as tall as you can be, Urdhva Hastasana. The palms can even touch slightly. And then swallow down to the earth. So we'll take both legs back. You can either step them, or you can do a little hop. Into downward facing dog. Floating forward into plank, squeezing the forearms towards each other to hold you strong and broaden the shoulders, and then lowering down. Rolling the shoulders back, finding cobra. Exhale, release. A second cobra, pulling the hands back, drawing the heart forward and up. And release. And the third one, you can either do cobra or just completing what we began on either side, bending up the knees, reaching back for the feet. This is our bow pose. So maybe holding the ankles if you can and flexing the feet and then pushing them back, lifting the heart. Let your Ujjayi breath sustain you here. And let go. Just feel the energy that gets released in the back bend, letting it infuse through the whole of the body. And a very gentle counter pose. We'll come into our child's pose with knees wide, big toes together. Settling back. But even here we can engage. We can pull the knees towards each other without moving them. And notice the equal and opposite effect on the sits bones. Can they open? And then let everything melt and spread, softening down. Gently coming up into downward facing dog. The last of our standing poses. So we're going to move widthways on the mat, so just stepping whichever foot forward so that you can turn sideways. Inhaling the heart up, exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Feel those inner thighs rolling back so the sits bones open. Inhale, third time, drawing up and down. And then crossing the body, so we'll reach for the right foot with the left hand and gently pulling in first towards that leg and then bringing your free hand onto the sacrum. So gently exploring into this pose that's a twist and a hamstring stretch. Maybe bringing the top arm up into the sky. And release. Gently walking to the other side, grabbing the ankle, pulling in very gently, just honoring your edge, and then the free hand comes onto the sacrum. Feel your twist, this movement as the spine gently explores how far it can go, and then lifting that top arm. And release. And then bending into one knee and straightening the other leg. And feel now right through the inner thigh. And then gently shifting to the other side. And notice one side may feel quite strong, quite open, the other side may feel quite weak. So just moving backwards and forwards. If it's available to you, you can move without hands. But we can also use the hands to support as we slowly build up strength. And coming back into center, turning the toes out a little, bending the knees, we'll just come up for our last standing pose. The knees opening towards the toes, strong in the thighs, letting the arms lift. And as we've been doing, pull the shoulder blades down. This sense of organic energy reaching up now. Muscular energy pulling us in. Organic energy reaching us up. And then the same thing with the arms parallel to the earth. So muscular energy pulling shoulder blades together, pulling the feet in towards each other, and then organic energy opening out. The thighs may be wobbling quite a lot by now. And release. Well done. Folding forward. Just reconnecting with the jai. And then lowering yourself down onto your mat. Let's keep the right leg out long and the left foot into the thigh. Our Janu Sirasasana. So we'll start by pointing the body between the two legs. So lifting the arms up and then reaching forwards. So just finding that gap between the two and melting down. And then if you'd like to, bring the hand that's near the long leg, bring it right next to the leg, push it a little bit so that you can open into a side stretch. So the top arm will come up as you're pushing your forearm against the long leg, and then gently explore this delicious stretch that just keeps on moving. Fingertips reaching forward, gravity taking you deeper, the waist stretching, the ribs opening. And softly release. Find a moment of stillness where we tune into the flowing breath and switching sides. So one foot in, the other leg straight, and we're going to bend forward between the two legs. So lifting the arms up and gently taking them down. So many things happening here. We're grounding the sits bones into the earth. We're lengthening from the waist up. We feel that supportive hand of gravity melting the body down. And for the second variation, bring the arm next to that long leg. Just use gentle pressure, one pushing against the other, and then let your free arm reach up into the sky and gently lengthen over. Feeling the movement that continuously happens even when it looks like it's still from the outside. And that's what's happening with us all the time, particularly in a meditation practice, where we're sitting still, but inside there's shifts and changes, there's insights and understandings, and there's the continual flow of the breath. So letting your top arm lift you back and soaking up the rebound energy, letting it infuse into the whole of the body. And it's time to enjoy the fruits of the practice, where we come into our Shavasana and let all those muscles that have been stretched and strengthened to melt, to soften. Make sure you're warm and cozy, putting on an extra layer or a blanket. And often in Shavasana we notice the mind suddenly being the thing that's moving. So you can keep the mind gently linked to the flow of the breath. That will hold it present while still giving it an anchor, a point of focus. So to make sure the heart is open, the shoulders are relaxed, you can softly press the back of the head into the mat and wiggle the shoulders down a little bit. And then once you release that, you'll notice the neck longer, the heart more open. And if you do have any lower back vulnerability, you can always take a cushion under the knees, or a rolled up blanket, or just something so that the lower back doesn't feel compressed as it arches. So we release Ujjayi now. We let the body guide us in the breath. A sense of being breathed. And as you prepare to move into the day, just remembering our intention, this wish to keep a sense of stillness, connection with the present moment, even in the midst of our day. And our best anchor for that is the gentle rhythmic flow of the breath. So now adding some movement into toes and fingers, wrists and ankles. Hugging the knees into the chest with the elbows, feeling hips and shoulders lifting. Everything embracing around our center, our still point. And then rolling to one side. And finding your way back into a seated pose. And as usual,
we dedicate our practice, making the wish that those who need to move today can do so from a place of steadiness and stillness. And those that need to stay still today can trust that things are continuously changing. Even in our stillness, there are shifts, transformations, transitions. So let's offer out our deep wishes for the well-being of others on the single sound of an Om. Taking a deep in-breath together, and then a long sigh. Inhale. And bringing hands together at the heart. Bowing to ourselves and each other. Thanking ourselves for this practice and hoping that it may bear fruit. Namaste.